And welcome back. Julie is now going to step us through her St. Mary-born one-place study. Tell us first what we're looking at and why we've chosen WeAre.xyz, please.
Right. Well, what we're looking at the moment is the homepage, which I'll describe in a minute a little bit more. But the reason I chose WeAre is originally it was a WordPress site, but it soon became apparent that that was not going to be enough because I needed to be able to link the people in with the places. So by moving it to WeAre, it enabled me to sort of add people and link them to all the various documents, research articles, and sub places within there, maybe artifacts and that as well. So it just sort of brings everything together in a way that a WordPress site alone doesn't. And the fact, of course, you can put family trees in articles as well was absolutely fantastic. But when it comes to this page, this is the start. As I've already said, this is a very large one-place study. This is St Maryborn is a very big parish, and if we scroll down, this is from a map in 2005, and we can see all the different places within. So here we have Binley, a lot of my ancestors is there, Waddick, Egbury. These are all hamlets. And as we go down, Stoke and St Maryborn, they are the two villages. But then over here, we have various farms. So we've got Upper Wick, Middle Wick. And if we go down a little bit further, we've got Lower Wick. So this is a large area, and we can see the other parishes alongside. And when you're looking at the records, very rarely do they tell you, if you're looking at a church record, the churches here in St Maryborn, that they were born, that they lived in Egbury or Binley or Waddick. So you're having to look at everything, even if you think your ancestors lived in the main village here or here, you can't actually tell without a lot more digging. And also on this page, I've included some descriptions, mention the places there.
And so those are
Very,
links to other pages, yes?
yeah, these are links to the places
Yeah.
in the places tab. Um, there was a geology blog prompt recently, well, earlier this year, last year, I think. I'm not really into that sort of stuff, but I did find a little extract from an old book. And then I've included why I'm doing it, what my focus is, and pointers that not everything relates to that. And because I'm using some of these tabs like occasions for different to what you would think, I've explained that here. So we've got crime and punishment, health and welfare, population, politics and tax. They all sit under the occasions. And I've also explained about the people because it's not easy to tell which ones you've updated. So I put a picture on. If there's no any sort of picture, whether it be AI, a graphic or photo, there's nothing there. Basically, I haven't actually done a lot with that person. So that is basically the sort of start, and that explains to people a little bit more
And
about
Julie, that's
life.
what we call the description page for the
Yes.
OPS. Yeah. Thank you.
So we've got other tabs. We've got research. One of the two I've just done recently, I'll show you. Whitchurch Union minute books. These relate to the Whitchurch Union workhouse, where many people from the parish would go in, and they give fascinating insights into life. I haven't got them all on, but this one here, we've got Dr. such a Dr. Royd gets mentioned. He was a union medical officer, and when I know him from these books that he got paid £10. So the more books I get with him in there, the more I'm going to learn about the doctor. The doctor relates to various people. He may have signed a death certificate. He may be involved in what we call a reception order, sending somebody to an asylum. Um, and the reason I found these was I was looking for this gentleman, Henry Hendy. We knew that it's an ongoing piece of work I'm doing, but we're finding him and his family mentioned there. And then by accident, I found Rhoda Goodyear, one of my Goodyears, in the book as well, and discovered from these books that she had epilepsy. and that's taken me off on lots of others. And her story is one I'm hoping to get up and running, up on the site in the next few weeks to a month. So you've got all these various articles, and there we can see Whitchurch Workhouse. That's where it's linked to.
Mm.
But this one, I started looking at some estate records. So Upper Wick Farm got some expenditure for the farm 1883 to 1889, and I've extracted that from the old documents that are in the Hampshire Archives. So we can see from here in 1884 and 1885, this farm had an awful lot of expenditure. I don't know why that's come up. Oh, I've clicked the image, haven't I? I'm
Yes, you
sure it just
probably
takes
clicked
a
on it.
minute.
If you click the X on the top left.
There is not an X on that. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, there we go.
So, but then by looking at that, I was able to do some graphs, so it's sort of telling a little bit more. And I've got quite a bit on Upwick Farm. And we can also use those expenditure to work out how much this is today. But this is the first farm I'm really looking at. And if we click here, we can go off to the farm, because this one does actually have some other information. The map's not coming up very well there. Oh, there it is.
It's just
So I
slow.
haven't actually created haven't actually created the description article for it yet, but we do have some research on this farm. So we know about that expenditure, but the other research was about an accident in 1873. And from here, we can see that it's set at Upper Wick Farm. The 1873 fatal boiler explosion goes to the one and only actual occasion that I have. And we've also got Maria Bunce, Lloyd Goodyear, and Charles Ralph mentioned. These are three people that died in this accident. There are others, like the farmer, that I haven't actually added to this yet. But this is, looking at the maps, can see where it was. Not easy to get the exact location, but we've got some ideas, because that's the actual farmyard, and it would have been somewhere in here. You can see the farmyard from a satellite image today, and I think these are a 1960s image of the farm. So this one is starting to pull into more information about that particular one. And if we go back to the farm, we can see the documents. The Andover Advertiser article is quite large. So there's a couple of parts to it. So I know that these all relate to that farm. We've got various media. So everything that relates to that farm that I've tagged that way is showing in there. So you've got old pictures, new pictures, which is quite nice. The occasions, it's not showing there. It should do. There are no artifacts. We don't think there'll be any other places with this because it is the final place. And the people are not showing.
You need to
Finding
go
an
back.
issue then.
You need to go back to home to show the people.
Yeah, there should be people tagged to that farm though.
Oh, I see. All right.
Yeah.
That's okay.
That
We
we
can
can go
get
to
it
that.
back.
Yeah. So that's the occasion. So I don't Maria Bunce. We'll go to Maria Bunce. So she's one of the ladies that she's the only lady that died in this accident. And there's an awful lot of I won't go into the description of this because it is quite graphic. But this is one of the stories. We're using pictures of the church. She was also an interesting one because she was born in 1819. Here, the gentleman that's running the Aldershot One Place Study is working on a Born in 1819 project. So this one I've
Oh,
tagged to that as well. It's the year Queen Victoria was born. So
oh,
it's
I see. Right.
Victoria's cohorts it comes in under.
Uh-huh.
But we've started to tell the story. So she was baptized in this font. This is an engraving from Dr. Joseph Stevens' book, Parochial History of St Maryborn. He wrote a lot about it, and he was the doctor there for many years. And then we have an engraving of the church. This is in around about 1888, these engravings are.
Mm.
We can start to bring in little pictures. I've looked, obviously, what I'm saying about pictures, I've put a little silhouette there for Maria and also for Charles White. It means I know myself that I've actually done some work on their profiles.
Yeah, that's a good strategy. I've used that one myself.
Yeah, otherwise you're just forever clicking into them, aren't you?
Yes.
Um, And then we've got another, these sort of three engravings are really beautiful of the church, and it just sort of goes on. And this one I've ended with a YouTube video explaining about Victoria's cohort. So for any of the 1819 ones that I'm doing, and there's 36 for St
Uh,
Maryborn, it's a large amount. I'm adding that. So showing you can bring in a YouTube video as well to your articles.
yeah, that is a fabulous demonstration, Julie, because many people are not aware of that. They know that they can put pictures and a bit of text and links, but putting in a video is really useful.
It is definitely. And it's something, I'm doing where I can.
Mm,
Um, let's flick back here. So that I've got all sorts of documents that are starting to appear. And there's another. I'm using like a graphic, so meeting minutes, so it makes it easy to know that those are minutes.
good
I need to do
plan.
a newspaper. Um, I mentioned about the chalk extract. These
Hmm.
are out of copyright, so I put in about the lecture, put those created. We go into that actually. Put a picture of that there. I haven't actually put the whole thing in. I thought I had. Sorry on that one.
It can hold quite a lot, though. I mean, we're
Yeah,
really digging deep into history here.
yeah. Well, this one I do know because Margaret allowed me to share the actual picture of the book. So is quite a good one. This was a Millennium project for Margaret. She did it in 2000, and here um, I've got this book digitally. There was a CD put together some years ago with various digital copies of books, and this one you can actually click to the book and you can actually read it online,
Fabulous.
which is quite
Love that.
which yeah, you can't do it with everything. Obviously, if you're getting stuff from archives, they don't tend to like you to put things online, which
No,
is
but that is a
sad.
great little technique. Like that.
Media I have in categories in the album. So there's my latest map purchase, which I'm still trying to stitch. It's not working too well. I found a place where you could actually buy a map of just the parish. So you haven't got that background. You can actually zoom in um, to this and look at the full um, parish. I
And this
can
is
get
what really intrigues people, isn't it? They want to come in and see what it was like back then.
Yeah, I mean that's 1911, but the earlier maps, if you go to the National Library of Scotland, you
Mm,
website for the maps, you'll get earlier ones too. But I have medals. Medals are going to come up for different people, so I pop them all in there. Um, I've got categories for my civil registration documents. It just makes it easier to be able to find the ones I've got. Um, there's a document one, and I've also, do a lot of old photographs come from Clive, so all of his are put in one. Mine that I've got, and there's some other odd ones.
mm,
Then in the occasions, this is where I was saying we have. I'm using it. We've got the boiler explosion. That is a true occasion,
yeah.
and I added it because there is quite a lot of information about it. But auctions come up in the newspaper, and clipping all those auctions together will make it a lot easier to track down. But the main
Mm,
ones I've been using at the moment are the crime and punishment, the health and welfare, and the population and taxes. So if we were to click crime and punishment, we have another one of the engravings. This is the old stocks in St Maryborn,
mm-hmm,
uh, which, and I've just given it a little bit of brief information about what that is.
Yeah, I had a brief look at
We
that
should.
today. I was drawn into the heading Crime and Punishment. I wanted to know more.
Yeah, it is interesting. There was a crime blog prompt last year, and I think I did 3, and I think I've got no, there's still one more to come off the WordPress site, but we've got
Mhm.
transported for sheep stealing.
Yes.
Him, if I remember rightly, ended up. I'm trying. He ended up with Winchester, obviously, but I've got a feeling he did he. Yeah, he ended up spending a fair few years in Gibraltar before finally ending up at Fremantle Prison. But by the time he
Oh,
got there, he was only there a couple of days, and then he ended up being
checked out again.
given a ticket to leave. That one
Can,
was
Julie,
particularly
before you move
unpleasant.
on, can you go
Yeah.
back into that same one? Because I had a question for you.
Oh, of course.
And if
Where
it's,
where would you
yeah,
like
that's the tree.
the
Because
tree?
people will be intrigued if you've not yet used WeAre.xyz. This is a created tree built on in WeAre.xyz. Can you explain a
Yes.
little more about how you do it?
Well, basically, for me, you can import a GEDCOM. I chose not to import a GEDCOM because the ability to update the GEDCOM is not available. It's coming, Simon
Mhm.
assures us. So I add each person in when I want to tell their story, but I do add, some of them may not have anything on, there may not be a little picture. So I
Yep.
can actually put the people, the trees into articles. This one, I don't think I've done anything on John Wise because it's just a silhouette, but I've added data for the other people.
Yeah.
So if I don't know, let's go into Mary Coventry, pick her. So we've done here. We've got some newspaper articles. So she was the wife of the convict that we store there, and I've sort of gone through and told her life here, and his. Now that's his story, isn't it? I mention her as well in this article.
Mm.
I don't
Would
remember
you,
what I've done
would
on
you
each one.
would you say to people who are starting out that it's an easy process?
It is. Um, Look at her facts. So you could have imported this whole tree in. If
Mm.
you've imported it in with your sources, they would come up mentioned here. So if we went in, click edit, you can edit. So if you later on get a date, you can enter the date in there.
Mm.
Um, you can manage your sources there. I haven't used, because I've added mine manually. I
Yeah.
haven't put them in there. It was I've actually done something slightly different and put them all in the general notes for the time being. But that is
Right.
entirely up to you how you do that.
Mm.
But once the GEDCOM update is available, those sources will be there in the normal manner. Um, but yeah, you can edit anything here. It's just like
Mm.
a general family tree. Um, if I know her father, I can click on that and enter his details
Right.
and then click create individuals. It's really, really straightforward. There's nothing
Yeah.
difficult about it.
Okay. And Julie, inside the one place study, is there a difference in the color backgrounds like there is in the archives? I see this one is
Yeah.
green. So can you
So
explain
there
more?
we have home is blue.
Yeah.
That stays blue, doesn't it? I think.
Yeah.
We go to people. Let's pick on somebody else. Let's pick on Anne, and that's gone green.
Yeah.
So there are different colours. Um,
Yeah. Usually green is for an individual. Yeah.
yeah. So what about if if I click into some that goes yellow? It's for
Yeah.
the places.
And if you've got a one place study and you're talking about associated places, can you have those in a hierarchy inside? So
So if we
places
go
within
back home,
places. Mhm.
we're going to go to places.
Yeah.
So we've got here all the sub places within the hamlets and the villages marked on the map at the top.
Right.
And then I've got them here. So this alphabetical, my map. So we have associated places: Binley, Dunley, Egbury, St Marybourne, Stoke, Waddick, and Week, or Wick. These are basically farms, but they are in a separate area, so they're sort of grouped.
Right.
If I click into associated places first, and then I'll show you the actual St Marybourne village as well. So
Okay.
here, within places, this is where I've got them. So Hampshire County Lunatic Asylum is in Fareham. They're all in Hampshire,
Mm.
but I didn't want to add like Fareham or Kingsclear because there's not really going to be that many places within there that they would link to, which is why I've chosen associated places. And
Okay.
then with each one, they've got, so if I went to Whitchurch Workhouse, that photo I've just added this morning, it was something I managed to get hold of from
Mm.
eBay. And here we can go, I'm clicking the wrong button. So research, we've got an article on minute books, we've got documents, there's those minutes themselves. The media, I've got the media that I'm using to group my documents. I've also got the picture. Health and welfare is going to be one of the occasions under that. There are no artifacts. I've only got a couple of artifacts in the whole database at the moment. There are no other places because this is the bottom level.
Right.
But any person that is associated with that place should also come up. So we know here that
Mm.
Anne, I haven't written an article for her yet, but if I look down, it should tell me that she was in the Whitchurch Union Workhouse Act in 1901.
Right.
One thing I will say is if you brought your GEDCOM in, it's telling you it's at Union Workhouse, you have to associate that person with the place. It doesn't do it automatically. So
Uh-huh.
that's something people may not realise. You maybe don't want to do it for everybody, but if you're doing the stories, that's where you would
Mm.
actually do that linking. But if we go back to the places, I can show you a bit more detail about how drilling down um, on the village of St Marybourne.
Okay.
This is the one that I've done most on. So when I've started it, all of the places within there have got a bit of a description. So I've used here some old photographs and I've looked for various sources to find how the village has been described over the years. So we've got a trip in time from 1822 when William Cobbett first mentions travelling through it. So what we've got is various, this is from a book, it was basically his
Mm.
Cobbett's diaries. So we know on the 17th of November 1822, he went there and he set off from Uphusband. Uphusband is actually Hurstbourne Tarrant. It's just a couple of miles down the road. And he had to go to Whitchurch. So to get to Whitchurch, he would have gone through Stoke and St Marybourne and Hurstbourne Priors before he got to
Right.
Whitchurch. Then you've got your various directories. So we've got an 1848 one. And this is where, at that time in 1848, it was 6,727 acres. So that
Mm.
is, you can see the size of it there.
Yeah.
Got 1868, and we know that, Ivinga, that is the hundred. So all the different, here in England, you've got all different sections. You've got parishes,
Yes.
hundreds, counties, everything. So everything different units. So we've got a later one, 1888, 1911. The parish now is 7,748 acres. But we know
Mm.
that 5,821 acres are arable as well. So it's very
Mm.
rural. And then we've also I've managed to get a 2023 description as well.
That's
Um,
great.
so it just sort of really describes, and I've tried to do that with all of the areas within the parish so people can find out over time how changes. And of course, if you find a new different one for a different year, you can just go and add that in.
Mm. Yeah, that's a really good
So
way for people to actually get a potted history through the eyes
yeah,
of those people who wrote at the time.
yeah. And of course, that description is actually this one. It's the research, a trip through time, because you can pin an article to the description page. So if I clicked in there, it will give you exactly the same information. I've just pinned it on the front there.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good plan.
No documents associated just with St Maryborn at the moment. Ami's just got a couple of overviews. This is a colorized photograph.
Mm.
This is a postcard that I've made black and white. Doesn't work with all of them. Sometimes they're best off left as they were, but sometimes you might actually get it to look
Mm.
okay.
That one looks quite good.
Which one?
That one, the colorized version looks quite
Yeah,
good.
that one's actually come out really nice. I'm still not sure why there is a train there at the bottom of the hill, but there is
Mm.
a train carriage there. There's St Peter's Church.
Yeah.
If you were to go and stand at the top of the hill there today, it wouldn't look much different. I'm presuming there is no train carriage. I've not tried it, but maybe there is. Um,
Interesting. Okay.
yeah.
So that what you're showing though is really the diversity of how you can set up a one-place study that covers history, geography,
Mm,
society, culture, religion,
yeah,
and you've got the whole thing all in the one place. So at this point,
absolutely.
um, you may have something else that you want to go on to, but I think it's time to pause. So is there something you want to finish in this section?
Just that final places tab, basically,
Okay, let's do that.
because that's where this is the village, and we've there got the roads.
Ah,
So if I click on the high street, um, when you go to Historic England website, it names this particular area here as High Street. There is no sign on the road saying High Street. So I've described the area. So here, map one shows, for the purposes of the study, I've said the area we're calling the High Street. So we can actually pin down the properties into a particular area.
great.
Um, and then within that, this is where we're going to drill down. So again, we can plot all the different properties on the map there, and then we can actually show them with pictures. So
Mm,
some of them have been modern pictures. That's one I've taken. These modern ones are mine. But
yep.
something like the Laurels, where the doctors lived, that was torn down in the 1960s. There's an awful lot of photos of it.
Mm,
And then this one is in particular has got documents because one of my studies was on title deeds, and I was able to use the title deeds for the Laurels. So if you've got that, you can add that, and then we can see from this all the different documents, and you've got all the different
mm,
names. So eventually, over time, these people will get researched
yes,
um, and be found here as living in that property. So, but I think that's
fantastic.
probably got a few. Yeah, it's got a few different photographs. And sometimes, that was 1928. There was a big flood, so there's an article somewhere about the floods.
Mm,
They might make trees out of title deeds, so and that as well. So yeah, that's just our but wanted to show that they drill down on a big study like that. You can actually drill down to your houses.
that's fantastic. Let's pause at this point so we
Yep.
can take a breather and we'll come back to do our final little piece.